Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Teton Guitars. Whether you're picking tunes around a campfire or taking the stage at your favorite honky-tonk, Teton Guitars delivers rich, soulful sound built for the journey. Learn more at tetonguitars.com. Now let's dive into some
Sometimes
music
we don't
and
really know
memories.
what the songs are about, but I wrote this song 15 years ago with two greats named Tony Lane and David Lee, and nobody ever mentioned a word about it. And I dug it up the other day and I was like, that song is about my new home, Whitefish. When we were writing it, you know, the vision in my head was yellow and orange and red trees and fog on the lake and a fire and some mountains. When nothing wants to go your way, dreams you seem to blow away. It's all bad news and all those blues have come to stay. When all you see are city lights, you can't find a single star inside. All your songs sound the same. You don't need to change. Don't you need a place to hide? I'll be your getaway. You ain't even got to call me babe. There's somewhere you can fall. You ain't even gotta talk. You ain't got nothing to say. Just lock the door and leave it all outside. Kiss me, boy, and kiss the world goodbye. Disappear without a trace. I know just the place. I'll be your getaway. When you're feeling like a lonely man, caught in some traffic jam, and you remember who you are. There's an empty in your heart. You know where I am. I'll be your getaway. You ain't even got to call me babe. There's somewhere you can fall. You ain't even got to talk. You ain't got nothing to say. Lock the door and leave it all outside. Kiss me, boy, kiss the world goodbye. Disappear without a trace. I know just the place. I'll be your getaway. Lock the door and leave it all outside. Kiss me, boy, kiss the world goodbye. Disappear without a trace. I know just the place. I'll be your getaway. Ooh, disappear without a trace. I know just the place. I'll be your getaway.
Hey, music lovers, welcome to Musical Miles Podcast. I'm your host, Byron Duff, and I am here with Miss Jo Smith.
Good morning.
It's good to be here. It's good to be here. We have been here. We're in Whitefish, Montana. We are here at the Big Sky Troubadours Downtown in the Round.
Yes.
Sponsored by Big Sky Troubadours, but you're part of that organization.
I am. It's quite the mom and pop organization at the moment. It's just me and my partner, Cari Klepper, and we've got some amazing, helpers around us. But
sure.
It
takes a lot of volunteers to run these festivals and any kind of music festival. It takes a ton of volunteers, a lot of people, and they're all music lovers like ourselves.
They are.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
So we're grateful. Cari actually. I had reached out because I'd heard about your festival, and I'd reached out to Cari, or I'd sent a message. I didn't know who I sent it to, and she finally responded back to me. But it was a little later than and we had made plans. We're leaving next week to go to Texas for a 2-week trip.
Oh, nice.
And so this was a little bit of a stretch for us. It was kind of last minute, but what a cool event.
I'm so glad you guys made it.
And we're so glad you invited us.
Yeah,
so.
Thanks for being patient with us, because we decided not long ago to do this. So we have been hustling. And I had a baby right in the middle of like crunch time. So we did not set ourselves up for success, but we were successful.
Oh, yeah. It's been wonderful. Well, and Miss Shanda's doing dual duties today. She's the producer, always behind the camera, and she gets her recognition, but she's babysitting as well today. So she's got Miss Ruby back there.
She does.
So cool. Well, listen, we know, so we're here at Slow Burn Records, which is a really cool place, a vinyl shop here in downtown Whitefish. Mm-hmm. And Tabor's been gracious enough to let us come in today and do the podcast. Yeah. But you're also doing what you're calling it conversation and coffee. Is that right?
Coffee and conversation. Yeah.
Other way, flip-flopped it around. Okay. Yep. So the artists will come in and they'll be take questions from the audience and share their little bit of their story and their journey. And that's kind of what we've done on the podcast. And I think today we're going to actually maybe try and do a live for the podcast.
Good.
So during this deal. But let's talk about Joe Smith.
Okay.
Let's talk about you. I know a little bit about you. I've listened, so we always download everyone's music when we know where we're going, and we kind of get an idea, so we know we're familiar with it. Love your song, Wyoming. I've heard you perform it here yesterday afternoon, and I love that song.
Thank you. I do too. It's been a really special song for me, and it great songs really withstand the test of time, and that one has.
Sure.
I mentioned in the round yesterday that it was like the first decent song I wrote, and to me it's far more than decent.
It's outstanding.
It's a great song.
Yeah.
And I can say that and brag about it, because I just don't think that songs really come from us. They come from like up above, and we just kind of are the channels.
Sure.
But anyway, Wyoming has been really special. It was that first thing that I wrote that started to really open the doors for me in Nashville.
Sure.
And and it got me on my record deals, and and
well, let's talk a little bit about that, because you grew up in Georgia. She's fine.
Okay.
Trust me. She has appeased many babies. Nine.
Yes.
She's missed. We have a young one that's 6 months old.
Yeah.
And she's missed him. So that's good for her.
My other babysitters are on the way if we need to take her out.
She's good. She's good. So so you grew up in Georgia.
Yes.
Okay, so you are a true Southern peach, and I know Philip White. That's his nickname for you, correct?
Yes,
is
Peach, and I call him P-Dub.
There you go. So you grew up in Georgia. Started your music career young. I mean, you come from a musical household, or?
Yeah, I do. I think that a lot of other people probably more so, but my dad was a music fanatic. He had a record collection looked a lot like this store.
Oh, wow.
And just loved all different types of music, played guitar.
Oh.
And so that's a lot of where it comes from.
Sure.
And when I was 3, I sang my first solo in church, and then when I was 5, in the South, pageants are a big thing.
Right.
And I was definitely not really a pageant girl, as I discovered over time, but that's just what you did.
Sure.
And I was in this little pageant called, get this, the Little Miss King Cotton Horse Show pageant.
Oh my goodness, that's quite a title.
We threw all the things in it, like the banner. The banner was like this long. You wear the banners.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, in the interview, this is when I was 5. They asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I said, well, I already am a professional country music singer.
Oh.
I don't know where I got all this. But they were like, oh, okay. And they played along, and they were like, well, sing us something. So I strike out on Have Mercy by the Judds.
Oh, my goodness.
And which is like a big cheating song, I had no clue what it was even talking about.
Sure.
So later, I ended up winning the pageant, which is a whole other story. But after, they had crowned the Little Miss, they have entertainment. So anyway, so a visiting queen came to the pageant. She sings a song, and of all things, she sings Have Mercy by the Judds.
Oh.
So she finishes her singing it, and the judges of the pageant come and find me, and they're like, rewind the karaoke track, because that's how we,
Right.
And they were like, they sit me on stage, and they were like, sing Have Mercy. And so that was kind of the start of it. And then I became like the novelty, like the 5-year-old kid that sings cheating songs. And so then I started getting invitations to sing. And that was sort of the start of things.
well, that's a long and storied career. So you moved off to you graduated high school. You did the whole thing, and you kind of decided you wanted to go to Nashville and do the deal, right?
Yeah.
But I watched a couple of YouTube videos on you, which were really intriguing, and I'll actually link them in the notes so people can go watch them because they're really good. But the interesting thing to me was, so you started college and then you ended up in Nashville before you graduated from college.
Right.
So then you got a record deal. Let's tell a little bit of that story. So
yeah, well, I did. I left Auburn University and went to Nashville because I had been in a talent competition, and the sound guy was like, there's this band in Nashville, and they're looking for a lead singer. And that was all I needed,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, all right, I'm gone. There's an opportunity. Somebody's like cracked open a door. I'm just going to bust right through.
Right.
So in I go, and I go to Nashville on that excuse. And it took several years to get a record deal. I had like a practice record deal, and then I finally signed with RCA, which was my dream label.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so then you got you got the ball rolling, and then things. You lost your record deal, right?
Yes, exactly. And you know what? There's a lot worse stories than mine. In that department of labels treating people terribly and whatnot. But I actually was signed to Columbia, and they put out 2 singles, and the singles just couldn't get traction at country radio, which was the only way you could be successful at that time.
Right.
But country radio just did not want to play a
the
female.
internet wasn't a factor like it is today.
The streaming services were just not, they weren't up and running. MySpace was brand new.
Right.
So if that tells you anything.
Yeah, well, we had kids that were on MySpace too. So.
Yeah. And we were all making fun of like Taylor Swift. She's like doing this MySpace thing.
Yeah.
Shows how smart we were.
Yeah.
But anyway, we didn't get traction, but luckily, the label really did believe in me, and it was a conglomerate. And so they restructured, they like moved me over to RCA, which was my dream. That was the label I wanted to be on.
Okay.
And I got a new balance sheet.
Okay.
And we started over, and we released 2 more singles on RCA, and again, just couldn't get the traction that we needed, so then I got dropped. That's the way it goes.
So that was kind of a breaking point in your career, and you decided to reevaluate. So as I watched the video, so then you re-enrolled in college.
Yes.
At
Vanderbilt.
At Vanderbilt. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So actually, I loved school. So a lot of like creatives and music types, like they can't get away from school fast enough, and that never really was my story because I loved school and I loved to learn about anything.
Sure.
So I missed it, and your career's like a roller coaster in Nashville, and so like when I would lose a deal or things wouldn't go the way I wanted to, and I would be down at Tootsie's singing for tips.
Yeah.
Those are the moments where you're like, am I even supposed to be doing this in my life? And so at those times, like I would apply and find a different avenue. So I applied to Vandy, and at one of those moments, and the funny thing is I got my acceptance letter from Vandy, and my record deal at RCA within a few days of each other, and I'm like, well, this isn't very clear.
No.
You know what path I'm supposed to take. So I took them both.
Yeah.
And I ended up just taking a few classes at Vandy, and when it was time to kick off my radio tour, I asked for a leave of absence, and they granted it. And then through the years, I would go back and grab a few classes and credits.
Sure.
And, take another leave of absence. They were very understanding, and then finally I finished my degree. And
you got a degree in political science, which
yes.
is really intriguing to us. Our youngest has a degree in political science.
Okay.
He just graduated from Utah State University.
Yeah.
His name is Gage.
Okay.
So
very cool. Well, I loved that major. I concentrated in international affairs.
Right.
Because I just find that very, very interesting, and other cultures and political systems, and I'm a lot more interested in that than like domestic politics, which just, I don't know why. It's anything but boring, but it's a little bit boring to me.
Yeah, he's very much into politics. He actually works for a company based out of Florida. He lives in Utah.
Nice.
But he works for a company. He's a project manager for a. They do political campaigns.
Gotcha.
And so, but anyway, he's very intrigued by politics, and we've had some interesting conversations.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Well, it's an interesting time.
I'm from the old school. You know, pretty conservative, and he's a little more liberal, but that's okay. It makes for good conversations. But that took you down another path when music you decided to step away from music.
I did.
And went to Somalia.
I went to Mogadishu, Somalia.
Wow.
Which is crazy. And I kind of explain how that happened. So after I lost my record deal with RCA, I got a second chance, which never happens.
Sure.
I mean, I had so many chances. I can't be hating on it on the system too much. But I got another record deal, and then I lost it too. So at that point, I was completely burnt out.
Yeah.
I just felt so empty, and it ended poorly. It was one of the things where the guy that signed me, I just adored him, and I adored the team, and we still haven't had a conversation about it.
Really?
So it's one of those things where it's just like, that just sucks.
Yeah.
And I just felt very sad and whatnot. So I hear my 2.5-year-old.
Oh, there you go.
Here's that Hazard has entered the building.
All right.
There he is. Hey, bud.
How are you, buddy?
I was just going to tell about how me and Daddy met in Somalia. Can you sit right here quietly in Mama's lap? Okay. So I had volunteered with some Somali refugees while I was in Nashville, and that was one of those other things that I just did whenever I was in a low point and just needed other things to do. Hold on, buddy. I got to tell a story. I'm going to tell you a crazy story. So I finished my degree. I lost that other record deal, and I was like, I just got to make a change.
Sure.
I've got to do something else. I'm writing all these songs about a life that I'm not really living. I'm just writing about it.
Sure.
So I got my resume out with my college degree and all my country music, quote-unquote, accolades. And I'm like, I don't know where this will end up.
Right.
But very long story short, a narrative nonfiction piece that I'd written at Vanderbilt about one of my Somali refugees, and my resume found its way to my husband. And he found it, and it was sent to him, and he was like, well, if this girl can write songs for a living, right, she can definitely write reports for the State Department, right. And he sent it to his higher ups. And I'm leaving a lot out because it's such a long story, but I got hired to write reports for the State Department.
And part of that is in the YouTube, and I will put it in the links, in the story links, so they can go watch it, because I loved it. It was very informative. And then the rest of the story, and I videoed yesterday in the round, the song you wrote for your husband.
Oh yes, the song about him.
Yes, about him, and I love that. That's such a cool.
You.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
So we'll share that as well.
Hazard has removed the lapel mic. Isn't that cool, buddy?
Yeah.
It's a cool mic. Yeah, it is.
That hurt me.
It hurt you. It stuck you in the back of the head, didn't
that's
it?
what it did. Well, listen, you know what? We've got you've got the conversation and coffee and conversation.
Coffee and conversation.
I get that.
Yes.
I flip flop. So I mix things up a lot.
That's okay.
So.
Hey, it's interchangeable.
But we've got that coming up. And so who's on? Do you know who's on the agenda today?
I do. I'll have to look it up. But I am interviewing Pat McGrath. So I'll tell you a little bit about the series.
Yes.
So Big Sky Troubadours has been doing Joe and Friends shows quarterly.
Okay.
Leading up to this big culmination with the Songwriter Festival downtown in the Round.
Yeah.
And we've added this series to accompany those shows so that it's kind of twofold, so that we can get here and talk about the record-making process aspects of being an artist and a songwriter, which is really interesting, and it's its own thing. And then additionally, we can field questions from the community.
Yeah.
And have some coffee sponsored by Folklore, which is one of our favorite community partners. So anyway, so that's what we're doing. And today I am interviewing Pat McGrath, who is an integral part of the record-making process.
Right. He's a studio session
He's a session
musician.
Guitar player.
Yes.
And he's
and
one
he
of the
played
best.
with you last night.
He did.
And what a
we gotta
talent.
leave that right
and of course, we watched him play throughout the last few days, last couple of days.
Yes.
Incredibly talented.
Yeah. I mean, his playing is pristine. And he's played on so many huge records. And the craziest thing is he is from Whitefish. And he and I did not make the connection until after I left Nashville, moved to Whitefish, and he saw it on my Facebook, and he was like, "Do you live there now?" I said, "Yeah." And he's like, I'm from there.
Wow.
So he hooked me up with the Great Northern, which his family owns.
Right.
One of our bars and venues.
Right.
And that was my first gig here. So that's kind of started everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Well, we look forward to that. Lots of stuff going on. It's going to get busy. But will you favor us with a song? I'm going to hand you this guitar. There's a pick right here. Do you need a capo?
I would love a capo if we have one.
Yes, I do. It's in that bag, and Miss Shanda will fish it out. And so this is a guitar made by Teton Guitars. It's an Idaho company.
Okay.
And we live about 10 miles south of this company. There we go. Here's a capo. Just a little inexpensive bungee cord capo.
Work?
So it's
wow. Oh.
And then just
let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. I gotta count.
Yeah, I do too. I play, but I'm a terrible guitar player. And you might check the tuning. I know you were struggling with that tuning yesterday.
Oh man.
And I play this guitar occasionally, and so it's especially that's the only one I brought with me. I have guitars at home, but anyway. But great company. They're like I say, they're Idaho Falls.
Yeah.
They're so gracious to give us the guitar. We have everybody play it, and then autograph it for us.
Okay,
so,
I would love to.
Yeah. What are you gonna set this up? Tell us
what
you're gonna play.
Should I play the song you mentioned? The song about him?
I love that song. Yeah.
Okay, let's do that one.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. See if I can remember all the lyrics without a cheat sheet. This is probably the newest song I've written. This is about my husband JD, and like I said in the round the other day, this is just my life right now.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm in that stage of life. People call it you're in the trenches, but the funny thing is JD and I came from the trenches in Mogadishu, the literal ones.
Trenches.
And
but
now
this made
is
it
just
real
gravy.
today because the kids are here. And
it's always chaos,
yeah,
you know.
No, we've lived it ourselves. So.
Yeah, but I love it. So anyway, this is just a slice of life. He calls my phone on his way home, asks if I need anything from town. It takes 10 minutes, he's here in 8. He's an 87 South with the top rolled down. He's what you see, is what you get, and he's got flowers when he walks in. Don't tell him I wrote this song about him. He won't like it, he don't like attention. Just tell him that he makes me the happiest girl, and I love him. And I love him no matter where he's been in the world. When he made me his, and I don't have a want in the world. He's talking to a friend out in the garage from the kitchen. I can see him laughing.
You're good.
I don't have my cheat sheet. Hold on.
Yeah,
Kitchen, I can see him laughing. He's burned some bridges, he's built some walls, but he loves who he loves, and he loves to a fall. He's camouflaged, locked in a box. He's seen some things, don't say a lot. So don't tell him I wrote this song about him. He won't like it, he don't like attention. Just tell him that I'm a one-man woman kind of girl. And I love him no matter where he's been in the world. He's in the yard doing who knows what. I strum my guitar for the baby wakes up.
Thank you so
much.
much.
We got there. We made it through.
We got it. You know what? This is raw and gritty, right?
Yeah, so much,
that we don't do a real polished podcast here, just so you know.
Well, hey, it's very unpolished
is real life.
with me.
And, no, I love it, and so it makes it very real.
Yes, well, we've opened and closed the store, brought coffee in, had a baby crying, put her to sleep, and my 2.5-year-old has come in and stolen the lapel mic, all in the course of this podcast.
And it's been awesome. Put your John Henry on there, or your Joe Smith for me.
All right.
Well,
you know, I'm actually changing my name.
Are you?
Because, I've gone by Joe Smith for a long time.
Right.
And that's pretty ordinary. It doesn't get, it's like Jane Doe, who is that?
Yeah.
And then I married JD, and my married last name is Stevens, and that's what most people in Whitefish know me as.
Sure.
But my email address for a long time has been a girl named Joe.
Right,
So I'm going to change and start going by that, just because most people just know me by my first name at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm going to sign it, a girl named Joe.
I love that. Thank you so much.
That's what the new music will come out under. So
this has been so fun, and once again, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys
for allowing us to come.
Oh my gosh, you guys are a great interview. Let me shake your hand, and thank y'all for supporting us. It's huge in the first year.
Yeah.
So
Well, we hope to be back.
Yes.
And with your partner behind the counter over there, we'd like to be your official podcast. So
yes,
that'd be awesome. We like that idea.
So, we would. I would love to come back and be involved. So, we're tagging you in everything we're doing. So.
Yeah, that's
wonderful.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And we don't just do this event too. We also do a show called Joe and Friends.
Yes, she told me. She mentioned that.
So if you guys are in the neighborhood,
this is a long ways from Southeast Idaho.
Yeah.
But we got to come. We got to come back up because Shanda's never been in Glacier, and I haven't been there since I was like 14. And I'm an old man now, so I need to get up there and go see Glacier. But so we'll be back at some point.
Good.
But thanks again so much, everybody, for letting us come in. For Musical Miles Podcast, I am your host, Byron Duff, and I am here with Miss Joe Smith, a girl named Joe.
That's right.
A girl named Joe, and we will see you somewhere down the road.
Sounds
Adios.
good.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for your patience.